episode 2. We actually came back for number 2. We've survived. Our relationship has survived episode 1, which is good.
Only just.
Well, that's episode 3, isn't it? We'll go through all of that. But episode 2, we're back, and I think that what we picked up on last time is that we've had a few comments from people talking about, oh, it's your second marriage, you got a blended family. So we've got a bit of interest on that. So we thought, well, episode 2, we'll talk about marriages, number 2. Keep in sequence.
Yeah, that sounds, I guess mine's a lot more recent as well than yours was. So, I mean, not so much anymore, but when we met, I was
I was going to say, we've been married for 3 years and you're saying your divorce is recent.
that would be a bit strange.
Well,
yeah.
we were dating for a bit while you were still married.
So that even is a conversation to have too, and I'm sure there would be a lot of people listening to this that could resonate and understand the situation that goes around. Something, I guess you could say, controversial as well.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, I mean, it depends on who you talk to. I was a married woman. You were dating a married woman. We were separated, and we were definitely not ever going to reconcile. But I don't know. It's a bit intense to start.
Yeah. Well, I reckon. Well, yeah. I think that's maybe you're sort of kicking off about your marriage ending. Do you want to just let's keep on that.
Well, I mean, we could also backtrack right. Yeah, I mean, yours...
Well, mine's going back a long way. I mean, a very, very long way.
Yeah.
Surprisingly long way, about how quick the time has gone. So I've been divorced for, my first marriage ended middle of 2013. So this is 12 years ago my marriage ended. And then you got to go through the courts and all that, and it takes a year in Australia. And then, so the end of 2014 is my official divorce date. So it's a very, very long time ago. And I did the whole single parent thing for a lot of years, and had a couple of cheeky relationships in between, but nothing too serious other than one. But mine goes all the way back to a long, long time ago. And funny, before we go on to you, because I think there's going to be a little backwards and forwards, because depending on how much we want to talk about it. But with mine, I remember thinking that I can't imagine what it's going to be like without this person. And 12 years later, I can't imagine what it was like with the person. I can't remember what it was like to be married to the person, or to the relationship. I barely remember the relationship. And we were together for 8 years or so.
I guess
I'm I barely remember it.
I could even, I'm not at that stage yet. Well, I mean, I'm now further removed, but when we met, I mean, it was still fairly fresh. So, we were definitely at different...
You've been separated.
Do we really want to say that out loud?
Well, you know what? This is your topic of conversation, and this is what other people wanted to hear. So you were separated for about 3 months.
Yeah.
When I met you. But I think that you'd said that your relationship was, like everyone, it's over a long time before
They
that.
say women normally, they, by the time that they've chosen to leave and that it is going to be final, they've already made that decision a long time ago. That is...
Whereas we don't know that...
No, men.
We don't know anything until the day that you've left. And it's like, I thought everything was fine. What's the problem? I don't understand. So you know well before, whereas we find out that day.
It's like, what is up with that though? Why can't you just, you'd think...
Women need to take men along for the journey of a breakup. And I'm just trying to remember with mine, but it's the case of you either feel it's just such a surprise, you're blindsided by it. And then it's only years later where you look back and think, you know what, I was a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it lasted that long. So, it takes a long time for a man to actually catch up.
Yeah.
Whereas a woman, it's just, not so click of a fingers.
It takes years.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to have that line and that divide between you're in it and you're out. Whereas, yeah. And then sometimes for men, it can be a bit of a relief when it finally happens anyway. And we actually realised, not saying this was my situation, but we actually realised that, it's we're better off out of it.
Yeah. It's horrific, really, to think about it, and we've gone and done it again. Remarried.
I was saying we haven't done a divorce again yet.
And that isn't going to happen, hopefully. But remember,
not for the first couple of seasons.
You've got to wait until
we've
season 6.
Committed. We've committed. But yeah, we've got married again. I don't think I would do it again.
It's difficult though. I know my marriage was, it was a 15-year relationship, and you sort of, you merge with that person, and you have to learn to live with. Yeah, so I guess the nature of divorce, and viewers that are watching that are have gone through divorce or might be potentially thinking about it, there's different stages of that journey. And obviously you've been divorced for nearly 12 years now, and you can't even remember what it was like to live with that person anymore, or what your life was like before that, because you've got a whole new life and you've married me now.
Yeah. So that's interesting, wasn't it? But yeah, it's funny that you do get to a stage after so many years of just, time does heal things. It's one of those cliches, isn't it? They say, time heals all wounds.
You don't think about it at the time when you're in it. Yeah. I think definitely, when you're in it, that's the worst. Was it one of the worst moments of your life when it happened? I mean, it was definitely for me.
It would have been. It would have been at the time. Yeah, definitely. I really, really struggled with it for good 12 months after. I struggled. I was upset. I couldn't move on. It was a very, very difficult time. But I actually did come out a lot stronger, and we had a defining moment 12 months after the divorce, that I was able to just think, you know what, I'm done, I'm out. And I took control of my own life. I wasn't feeling sad or so overwhelmed by my feelings and depression, and I was just able to take control. And I haven't looked back since.
And how did you do that?
I left the country. That was a good enough one for me.
Moved countries.
I moved countries.
Yeah.
That's
a great way. Great. I wish we could just move countries.
People say that, time heals all wounds, like we said, but space does a pretty damn good job as well.
That's brilliant.
So if anyone is breaking up and you do have a citizenship of another country, then it is always an option.
Yeah, to move countries.
Countries, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so space is the healer. Space is great as well. What helped with my divorce was meeting you and falling in love with you, and having someone to look after me and take care of me.
Yeah.
That's something
you needed a bit of work.
Yeah.
You did need a bit of work, and it was it was a really hard time for you, especially. But it was I think we definitely helped each other out. Not with me on the divorce side, but I could help you with that separation and the divorce. Well, depending. I mean, you were still, still way off from divorce at the time when I met you. But yeah, we helped each other out with things. We were both going through you with a divorce, me with losing contact with my family.
Yeah, well, excommunication, really.
Excommunication from religion.
Yeah. And mine was, I felt like I was going through the same thing, because the only family that I ever knew was removed from me.
You didn't have any family here?
No,
you
not
had
at all.
No family here?
No, so that was all removed straight away, completely removed. So I had no one.
It's very difficult when you do lose that support network. And I was very lucky because I was still very close to my ex-wife's family over here, which was great. So I used them a lot in the first couple of years.
Yeah.
So very friendly with them, and always got invited around for family dinners, and that was really, really nice. But it also probably kept me in a time warp, in a time bubble maybe, that I wasn't really in anymore, but kind of kept me and those relationships alive, and maybe some of that feeling sort of there as well.
Yeah.
But all that, I was in the same situation as you. I didn't really have any family when you and I met. I only had a couple of friends. That's probably a couple too many. Episode 3, friends. I always want to do stuff with you.
That is so true. So yeah, if we hang out with you, it's because we really like you.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
But I guess that adds a whole nother layer to it, because again, we're living in Australia, and I'm South African, and you are from Jersey, we've completely left our homeland. In pursuit to our previous marriages, moving down to Tasmania and raising our family, and we're sort of stuck here and with no immediate family or support. So we've really only got each other. And I wonder how many people out there that are actually watching this can resonate from that kind of experience of being fairly isolated in a country, or even in a place that they have no support.
Just anywhere, isn't it?
Anywhere, really, with no support. And what do you do when and how do you find the help that you need in whatever it is that you're going through?
So was that a factor with you with divorce and breakup, thinking that you've got no one once something happens?
I don't know.
A breakup of a relationship
it was so
happens.
fresh when we met, though, that I don't think I was really I wasn't going through any of that yet, really realizing the situation that I was actually in, because it was so fresh. It was 3 months that we'd met. I wasn't really living in reality.
No,
I was just surviving. I was literally just surviving. So when I speak about it now and really think about where I was at that time, it's actually extremely scary. But I think I was really brave as well. So brave to remove myself from any support that I had. Lucky at least I had my career.
Well, you had
to
a lot
fall
of work.
off on.
You had a lot of work people as well that you were close to.
Yeah,
You had
they were definitely.
a really close group of friends that you worked with. You were lucky enough to have, you didn't just go work with people.
They're the ones that kept me. Yeah, the support that I got even just through work was huge. I couldn't have done it without them.
They were good to you as well, not just your friends, but work, like having
Definitely.
time off and
huge.
taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
It's really important to have that support network. And if you have it at work, that's brilliant, because that's where you spend 8 hours a day, right?
Yeah. So, yes, I was very thankful, and I probably wouldn't have made the move if I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And that's all I had, really, was that work, safe space.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like me, I had a good series of friends that were close by, one or two very, very good friends in particular who really helped me, who hadn't been through the same situation themselves, but they were there for what I needed from them, which was great.
Yeah.
Whether it was just, let's go play golf, or let's come around for a coffee, or those sort of things was nice, but it doesn't take away the emptiness that you do have. When you actually catch up with the divorced person or my the divorced ex-partner for me, who would have been a year ahead, or just out of it already.
Yeah.
So it took me that time to catch up, as I said. But I remember there was a really nice man at work who had been through the same thing as me. I don't know about his entire situation, but he'd been through the same thing as me. And I'd go into work, I'd be in tears. Just, it was absolutely awful. And he'd take me out for a coffee. We'd go play squash after work together, and he just gave me his time.
Yeah.
Didn't even talk about it. We'd just hang out. And when I left my old work, he'd left, and when I came back to Tasmania after a year away, he'd moved on and was living on the other side of the state or whatever. But I haven't caught up with him since. But just for that 2 months, it was just great just to have someone you can just talk about nothing with, or go play some sport, or just hang out with, and just be yourself. Learn, because you need to learn who you are again and what you're interested in again.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're like me, but after divorce, I kind of reverted back to the age that I was, and the kind of things I liked, the kind of music I liked, before I got married. So I went straight back into like being I was 30 when I got divorced, or 31. And I went straight back into liking bands like Bush and Creed and Nirvana and all that. I just like regressed straight back into that kind of thing, because that's who I was before. So I went back to who I was, because that's the person I knew. I didn't know who I was without the partner there, because you'd been together, you'd been that group person, if that makes sense. You're together, you are one person essentially. And then when you split that up, you've got to start afresh from then, or you just revert back to the person that you know.
Yeah. It's kind of, that resonates with me as well, because how you've explained that, it's like it's the death of who you were with that person.
Right. Yeah.
And that's one way I could explain going through a divorce, is it feels like it's a death. It is actually a death. The difference between and not just, it's a close death, someone you would hold completely dear to yourself.
But sometimes it's a rich relative though, that you can get a bit of money from it.
Yeah, well, that's one, I can't believe you even said that.
Not saying
I don't think that could replace that. There, maybe it's a joke for you, but for the feeling of that type of death, and you know why you would joke about that, because you've not experienced a death like that before.
No.
Yeah, whereas I have. Yeah. And it was actually my ex-husband's mother, which was the most painful death experience I've ever, horrific. And yeah, it was the same feeling. So yeah, that kind of death, I think I could only relate it to a parent passing, and I wouldn't go so much as to say a child passing, but definitely as painful. And maybe it is, maybe not. I don't know if it really felt like that to you, but maybe also you didn't lose the whole family. You didn't lose your whole family too.
That's right.
Whereas I did.
Yeah.
So that was painful.
I still had those ties there for a lot of years after.
So divorce can be so different to so many people.
That's
really.
The thing. It's not just, you're divorced, you know how it is.
Yeah.
It's very, very unique set of circumstances that, I mean, we're all unique too. Yeah. So, everyone will react so differently in this wide chasm that is divorce. And I think you're quite right. You've got to go through that period of loss and mourning and, accepting it in the end.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we've gotten really intense in this discussion around divorce. I think that we should cut it there. We're trying to keep these really nice and short, and we will definitely be continuing to have a lot of deeper conversations around situations like this. I think our main goal has been to resonate with viewers going through the same situations, or maybe even contemplating going through these situations, and how to gather the strength to be able to do that, or work through their circumstances.
My last thing I want to say is that I guess if you are going through divorce, and I can speak from my experience, find a good pizza place and get well known there, because I found that just pizza makes everything better.